and welcome to your not so average book review, to say the least, or maybe it's just September book review with Lydia Dietz. Also, I feel like it's more like Lydia Dietz meets Linda from The Wedding Singer. I dressed up as Lydia for a shoot today, and I was like, I could take off my wig and all my makeup and start over, or I could just do a book review as Lydia. And I guess here we are. And it's also just been a day because my dogs have been bad. These bangs they're tired. My strapless bra is to my knees at this point. It's been a day. It's one of those days. It's like the universe does not want me to film this today, but it's happening. I'm making it happen. So anyways, we're here, and I'm sorry this is so late. We're doing the book review today. We're reviewing The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcey Coates. And this one I actually read part of it and then listened to the rest of it because I started decorating for Halloween and figured, oh, I'll just listen to it as I'm decorating. It was a perfect book to listen to as I was decorating. And I was just like, I would say things out loud like, no way, or that person's shady. Like, I would just like say things out loud. Anyways, it was a great listen. I'm gonna go over it really quick just in case you're new here and you haven't been here for a book review before. So basically I keep it really open. I don't really have a ton of rules. I just kind of talk a little bit about the book, give an overview for people who haven't read it yet and are just here to see if it was good or worth reading. Then I get into the spoilers for all of us book clubbers who read it. And I kind of just like, sometimes I'll ask questions, sometimes I'll just list off little thoughts. You can either answer the questions I ask, or you can kind of tell me your feelings about some of the thoughts I was having or some of the things I was thinking about. Or if you don't want to do any of it and you just want to do a general review or things that you thought about or things that stood out to you, your favorite parts, your favorite characters, you could put that down in the comments and just go to town, talk about it, respond to each other, whether or not you like the book, all that kind of stuff. I like to keep it open, like we are hanging out, having some spooky beverages and talking about our book like we're in person, just like chit-chatting about it. So let's get into just the general review. I'm gonna make it pretty quick because I don't know how many people are here just for a general review as much as we're here to talk about all the spoilers. I still can't take myself seriously looking at this monitor. Anyways, so The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcey Coates is basically just a quick overview about this house that was left to this ghoul named Adrian by her aunt, her great aunt. Is it her aunt or great aunt? I don't know. Anyways, a family member, an elder named Edith. So Adrian arrives and the house is kind of weird. There are some weird things happening. There are like no mirrors in the house and random things that are just strange and little notes and then there's of course a backstory the whole town knows about the house and the family and all this kind of stuff, and it just slowly unravels throughout the book and you find out what's going on and if it's haunted and what happened to the family. And it's just a spooky house supernatural type of book, and it is, in my opinion, so good. It's just one of those really good classic haunted house stories that just kind of is just, I don't know, like, woo, like just a little spooky. But I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Were there things where you're like, okay, how like the stars aligned perfectly for this to unfold, or you know, any spooky movie or book, you're gonna have things that are set up an exact way just so it can be scarier, or things can happen and you're like, that would never happen in real life, or this isn't that believable. There are things that happen, but just gotta kind of ignore that and just have fun with it and relax and enjoy the spooky feel. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna say read it. It was really good. It went by really fast. It was a super easy read, super enjoyable, really fun. One of those books where if you just want to take your mind off of things or things are getting you down, this was just a not even a feel good. It was definitely spooky and creepy, but it was just fun. It was a fun time. So I wouldn't say it's like family fun. I wouldn't, maybe not for small children fun, but fun as in like adult spooky haunted house supernatural fun. At least I think that kind of stuff is fun. But anyways, it was a good time. I had a good time. Okay, so I'm jumping into spoilers, so I'm gonna give you a second to get off of here if you haven't read the book yet, but I highly recommend it. It's good. So go on, I gotta give it a second so we can talk about some spoilers because I'm ready. I feel like that's enough time Do you feel like it's enough time? It's enough time. Okay, so here are my notes. I have all these random things that stick out to me, so I'm gonna mention a couple of them and we'll see where it takes us. The first thing I mentioned are the no mirrors thing. Like, she walks in the house and there are no mirrors anywhere. I didn't know if maybe she saw herself, that she would die, or I don't know, something would happen. Also, the thing about the no mirrors, just to kind of jump ahead a little bit, but it's related to mirrors. When Jane brought over all of those mirrors and was like, who was it that, I don't even know if I have the name of the girl, was, I want to say it's Karen, but I don't think it's Karen. Who's the girl? Marion? Yeah, Marion. Karen, Marion, whatever. When Jane brought the mirrors, which we'll get into Marion here in a second, but when Jane brought the mirrors over that Marion got rid of and gave them to Adrian, I almost thought for a second that Jane knew something that no one else knew. Like, maybe her family lineage had some background that was with this family and they were enemies or something, because it just seemed like a huge a-hole move to give her these mirrors and be like, oh no, I insist, I need to give these to you. I don't know, I was suspicious, and you can let me know down in the comments if you were. It ended up being nothing, really. I mean, it ended up being something because the mirrors went up and that wasn't a good thing, but her being insistent upon giving the mirrors to Adrian, unless I'm missing something, it wasn't like some backstory or something that she knew and was trying to sabotage Adrian. It wasn't like that, but I was skeptical about those girls from the beginning, and that's another thing that I guess I should say and ask you guys if you were skeptical of them, because, at one end, I felt like the book was trying to make us too skeptical of them, to where I was like, well then maybe I'm not, because they're trying to push this on me a little too much. Then on the other hand, I was like, it just seems way too quickly they became friends and they were all like trusting, even though this girl's moving into the spookiest house in town, this history of murderers and stuff. And like, I don't know, like you would think that somebody might be a little reluctant to be your friend if your, family murdered everybody. It just seemed a little trusting. So at the same time, I was like, I don't know if I trust these girls. So, okay, so now that I got that whole rant about the mirrors out of the way and the friends or whatever, I don't even know why I started with that first, but there was just so much that happened in this book. I don't even know what to talk about next, because there was just so much, like, it was just spooky thing after spooky thing that kept happening. So all of my notes are like, what happened to Marion? Who was in the box? What happened to her car? All these things. Okay, so I guess next we can talk about Marion, and also I think maybe kind of pull it together with the Nightfall thing and ask you guys what you thought, because I thought it was so, like, that whole idea was so spooky that she has to get home before nightfall, and then Marion comes over and they go and search for her and they're looking everywhere, and then they find her and she's almost like, I made a note and asked if she was possessed or what had happened to her, who was in the box, because clearly there was like a grave that was dug up. I loved everything about that part with Marion, and just how that kind of unraveled and how it tied into the story. But I thought it was just, that whole Marion part was such a great setup going into everything, and it got really exciting really fast. One of the first notes I have is that the corpse is so awesome and gory, and I didn't even write her name, Edith's twin, because we didn't know yet that it was Edith's twin. We didn't know that yet. But the corpse, when it arrived, first of all, I didn't know a corpse, like, this always fascinates me about any corpses or zombies or anything, that they move so quickly. Anyways, but then, her leg got attacked, so Adrian wasn't moving as fast either, but the detail in the corpse, whatever her name is, Edith's twin, the corpse detail was so gnarly and awesome and spooky and amazing and all things that I love in this type of book. It was so awesome. And the whole thing about her just kind of stalking her like outside of the house, with the basement where she finds that there's a door in the basement and she's freaking out, and she finds out the door is open, and then the corpse gets into the house and is terrorizing her. And then she finds this, now I'm just getting all over the place, so hopefully you guys have something to talk about or respond to. But the note that she finds Am I mistaken and I was just like into my decorating and missed this part? Or did she find the note in the basement? Because I feel like she found the note in the basement where Edith basically explains everything that happened, and to light the candle and to not hang mirrors and all the things to do to keep her sister in her grave basically. Like, why not leave it on her bed in the bedroom she prepared, or in the kitchen, or on like the front landing or front little table or something? Maybe I'm being too particular now, and that's a possibility. But I was like, what? So then the corpse gets in, and then the whole thing, like all these things happen. One of the spookiest parts in the book that I thoroughly enjoyed, I loved this part, was the portraits when they came alive. They're like, the people in the portraits were animated and alive and terrified and like just, and honestly, I thought for a second the people in the portraits were gonna attack Adrian. I didn't realize they were like scared for her. At the time, I kind of thought that they were just gonna like, you know, it was gonna be like a whole moment where they come out of the portraits and start, oh, like following her down the hallway or something. I don't know. I thought either way, the portrait part was really cool. Also, I have here, oh, I loved this part. Okay, I guess this is just one big review of me talking about all the parts that I loved and how spooky it was. But okay, the part, you guys gotta tell me what you thought about this part, where Edith's, the corpse, what is it? It says Edith. Oh, because at the time we thought it was still Edith. So at the time this happened, we thought the corpse was Edith, or Adrian thought the corpse was Edith. The corpse was crouched on the roof. I was just imagining it in my mind. Actually, this whole thing in general would be a really good movie, because I'm just imagining this like really spooky, like hair, almost like a Ring moment, you know, with the girl Samara from The Ring, where she comes out in her hair, but almost a moment like that where she's like crouched up like this corpse, the skin coming off, and is like perched up on the roof. Oh my gosh, I was all excited. I was like, oh my God, that's so creepy, and was just imagining it in my head. Also, I guess I'll ask this question now that we were kind of just talking about it a little bit, but were you sold on the fact that the corpse was Edith? Like, did you for sure think, like, did you just trust that it was Edith? Or did you think that it had to have been a different family member or somebody else? Or did you think Edith killed the family and wasn't really a good person, or was seeking Adrian, like one of those ghost stories where you want her to come and join the family, you know what I mean? And you want to murder everybody in the lineage kind of thing. I guess I didn't even think about there being a twin, but I thought maybe it was the parents, or maybe it was, I don't know. I wasn't sold on it being Edith, but I also wasn't like really, I didn't give it too much thought. I was just like, I guess it's Edith then, because they're saying it's Edith. But because Edith had done so many nice things for her, but then at the same time, she could have lured her in. And after that, it just kind of all unraveled. Marion came in possessed, and then she tried to, like, the whole fight scene, there was just a lot of fighting going on, and Marion, and then there was the corpse, and then there was Edith came around somewhere, and then there was the flame, but then there's the flashlight, and then there's a flame again, but then there's, the flame is lit, but it wasn't lit, but now it's lit because Edith helped. Is that what happened? It was kind of a lot, but I mean, it was good, but I just really like the part where like the corpse is crouched up on the roof, and then there's like an empty coffin, and then nightfall happens, and you never know what's gonna happen at nightfall. Is this random corpse gonna possess your friend? Or even I didn't mention the part about the girl's brother, the girl who works at the vet clinic, her brother driving up, and she's like pounding like help, and then like tries to use the flashlight, but then she's like, oh wait, it's a spooky house, he probably thinks it's haunted, and he's gonna drive away real fast or whatever, and he did or whatever. That part was really good. So the ending was just like, it flew by, and it was a fight scene, and it was a whole deal, and then it was over. I wasn't as, like, I was really excited about it. I thought it was awesome, but I wasn't as excited about it as some of the other spooky parts in the book. And it could just be preference as well. Some people like the fight scenes, where I'm more about like the slow burn, weird spooky things that are happening that are mysterious and we don't know what it is yet. We don't have a resolution yet. It's all a mystery. Like that, I like that part. So now that we're kind of at the end, after everything happened, Marion kind of came back to life after she was possessed and was like, what happened? Where am I? What's going on, kind of thing. But I will say this, the ending I said was kind of cute. And I said here, I kind of got some Beetlejuice vibes from it, which this is just so much more appropriate right now because of this. But I said that I got some Beetlejuice vibes, and I think it was because like at the end when Edith kind of lets her know that she's there and the portraits are all happy and she's got this new routine and she just like, and her family kind of looks after her, and Edith, you know, is like this little ghost that pops in now and again or whatever. I don't know, I just got some Beetlejuice vibes, or maybe I'm just feeling it because I'm Lydia today. So one last thing I wanted to mention is I mentioned all my favorite parts and all the good things and everything I loved about it. I don't know, I feel like you always have to have a little bit of a critique. I'm not really big on being too critical of books because I really just try to sit back and enjoy them and fully like just take it in and take it for what it is and whatnot. But I was gonna say, there were some things in the book that were a little bit, and I kind of mentioned it when like before the spoilers, that were a little bit like annoyingly convenient, you know, where it was like she didn't have a phone, her computer broke, everything, like no way to contact people. You have this huge mansion, not one phone line is connected. Too much was way too convenient. That is, sometimes I was like, really, of course your computer broke, or you know what I mean, that kind of thing. But in reality, I didn't even think about it while it was happening, except for the whole basement note thing. I did think that was kind of weird. But, and maybe like I said, I'm remembering it wrong or didn't hear it right because I was listening to the book, and that can kind of change the experience. But overall, I think it was like after the fact where I was just like, okay, if I had to critique something, what would I even critique? Because I really just fully enjoyed this book, and I was like, oh, well, maybe like the whole like no phone, no computer, no nothing. Overall with this whole book, I just thoroughly enjoyed it and just went along for the ride, and I loved it. I thought it was perfect as I was decorating for Halloween. It was just the perfect, fun, kind of takes you to another place kind of book, and it was spooky and it was gory at times and a little creepy crawly, and I loved it. I loved it. So anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed the book for September. And if there's anything you want to mention down in the comments, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, or your favorite characters, or anything you were shocked by or not so surprised by, let me know down in the comments. We'll chit chat all about it, and anything that I missed, which I'm sure I did, down in the comments as well, if there was something that stood out to you that I didn't talk about. So hope you guys enjoyed last month's book, and that you have started and are enjoying this month's book club. I'm about 30% into Ghost Story by Peter Straub, and I am loving it. It's so good. I'm like hooked. I'm like gonna go take all this off. I'm gonna go read that book, or actually I'm gonna edit this and post it. Then I'm gonna read the book. So anyways, I'm gonna get off of here so I can edit this and get this posted. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. Say hey ghoul hey down in the comments because you know I love talking to you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.